And Robin Lod turns away with that broad smile etched across his face. Yet again, it's Minnesota who score first against San Jose. It's Minnesota United showing they've got a pretty big bite for an underdog through to the semi-finals.
But I'm not the expert. You guys are the experts. I've only been doing it 44 years.
Return Valeri! Off the bench, and the Timbers have come from behind to take the lead. And he pulled, let him fly, he scores! Portland Timbers might have sealed their spot in the semifinal.
NYCFC taking on Portland in the final match of the quarterfinals. Diego Valeri started this one on the bench for Portland in the 24th minute. Castellanos launches one. Woo!
Well, that was
lucky
close.
There.
This is a soft pen. This is a soft pen, Suzanne. It's a penalty, but it's a soft one.
This. I had issues with that, Charlie, but they award NYCFC the penalty, and then Jesus Medina, his third goal of the tournament, gives NYCFC the 1-0 lead. Then in the 44th minute, Sebastian Blanco. You talked about him, Charlie.
He's a special player, and he really showed his quality tonight. He stepped up. He was all over. He was influential in the final third, connecting passes, and he got the crucial goal there.
How about this save? A double save, really, for Sean Johnson on Jeremy Abovasi. 2 chances here, and coming up huge for NYCFC.
That's why he's a U.S. international, because he makes those incredible saves.
Jeremy had a couple good looks in this one and was unlucky. It didn't put him away. But, hey, look, it was Mr. Reliable when you needed him. Not a bad guy to look down the bench and see. Diego Valeri came on at halftime.
Is
San
this
Diego.
his future as a super sub, Diego Valeri? I'm kind of here for
I don't
it.
think so, but it worked well tonight.
Golly.
I tell you what. And you know what else worked well? Polo.
Que golazo.
He got brought in, I think,
My
1 minute before. And go ahead and dance. You score a goal like that.
That goal was spectacular. So Portland are moving on to the semis after that 4-1 win. Here's a look at the game stats. And, you know, NYCFC absolutely dominating in possession there. But Portland just played really, really organized football. And
They're
they
direct.
get the result that
They
they were
played
looking
direct.
for. It was just too much. Direct, absolutely. Well, and then there were 4 teams. So here is a look at the MLS Is Back tournament bracket. As we get ready for the semifinals, it's going to be Philadelphia Union, Portland Timbers, Orlando, and Minnesota moving on for a chance to win the whole darn thing. So check this out. This is interesting. 3 of the 4 clubs in the semifinals do not have a trophy in MLS. So this is going to be, there's a lot to play for these teams. Guys, welcome on in to the MLS Is Back postgame show presented by Audi. I'm Susanna Collins, joined, of course, by Charlie Davies and Kaylin Carr. So when you look at the teams, the 4 teams that are heading to the semifinals, guys, if I had told you on July 8th, when this whole thing kicked off, that it would be Portland, Philadelphia, Orlando, Minnesota, what would you have said to me, Kaylin Carr?
I don't know what I would have said. And honestly, I think we should acknowledge that it would be pretty difficult to predict how this tournament was going to go. A lot of different factors,
100%.
9 a.m. games, as difficult as it is. I'm not hedging. I actually picked Philadelphia Union to win it all before the tournament began.
Yes.
So
Let's give yourself some credit there.
I'm still feeling pretty good about that one right now. But, yeah, look, we've seen some teams emerge that have surprised a lot of people. And you have to give them credit in that. Even the teams that have had to say goodbye tonight, San Jose Earthquakes being one of them, they really surprised a lot of people as well. But, yeah, Minnesota, you would never have guessed it. Orlando, you surely would never have guessed it to beat LAFC, especially the way they were able to advance. And, yeah, Portland, I think we thought was a team that could get there, and Philadelphia as well. So while maybe half the bracket is a surprise, the other half, I can't say I'm shocked.
Charlie, what about you?
I'd say anything is possible. It was like a new season when you talk about COVID-19 and, teams were switching groups and 9 a.m. games, like Kalen said, then the 10:30 p.m. games, and some teams had more days rest than others. And then you talk about the injuries because some guys weren't fit, and some teams it took 2-3 games to get it going, like New York City FC. And tonight they just didn't have enough. It was like the last game was great, but it was also against the Toronto FC team who was fatigued, and it showed because those 9 a.m. games hurt Toronto FC. So I think overall it's been a fantastic tournament. So no complaints from me.
Yeah, if you haven't been entertained by the MLS Is Back tournament, then there is literally something wrong with you. All right, Charlie, you had kind of talked about it earlier in the show. You just said that this was a very direct performance from Portland in order to get the result. And one of the things that I think really gave them a boost and some energy was Diego Valeri coming into this game after halftime. He started the game on the bench. Valeri wanted to give him a little bit of rest. But what did he bring to this Portland side when he came into the game?
For me, it was all about the experience and finding the right spots. Diego Valeri is a former MLS MVP for a reason. Here it's a clever pass from Niyashkoda, but he puts himself in that position, in between the defenders. And then when he's in front of goal, he finishes. And he was influential with his runs. He makes the smart runs that draws defenders out of space, or he makes the runs into the space that is available. And he is a class player. Now, he can't play those games in 90 minutes anymore because of his age. He can't play as consistent as he'd like, but he's still impactful. And we saw him coming off the bench today and doing what he does best and finishing teams off.
Kalen, what did you see from Valeri? What element did he bring to the side to kind of help finish this off for Portland?
I thought Charlie put it well. I mean, it just finding the right spots, and then he's got the composure. He just takes a couple little steps there once Niyashkoda gets the ball to just kind of readjust his run, make sure he stays on side, and then from there you knew he was going to put it off. But look, I think Sebastian Blanco is now sort of the center of this team. He's the guy that drives them on, and I thought that goal right before halftime was crucial for them and really created the platform for then Gio to come in and make those subs that actually really then went on to push the match. But yeah, we've seen depth be tested throughout this tournament, and I've been surprised to see managers not go to the bench earlier than we normally would have. I think for the most part, we've often seen 60th minute subs being sort of the beginning point in a lot of ways, and I thought Savarese was smart here to say, hey, you know what? We've got some tired legs. Got some a little bit older players in Valeri's case. Why don't we let the game sort of, it's going to be a little bit cagey in the beginning, let the game open up a little bit, and then we'll see what kind of damage we can do in the second half. And it worked. Not often you get the second sub to come in the 60th and then within 1 minute score a worldie. But hey, when it hits, you got to take it.
Gio looked real smart. I want to go back to Sebastian Blanco because he's been so outstanding for Portland for a long time, especially in this tournament. That first goal that they scored right before halftime, it was actually a beautifully executed goal. Portland showed a lot of patience, but then it was Blanco, Charlie, who just had that really clean finish and that just little hesitation. What did you see from him tonight?
Well, first, it was the ball in behind to open that cross for Villafana. And then he always follows up the shot. He always follows up the play, puts himself in good positions. It pops out. And off the bounce, half volley, he bends it. And it was so crisp. Sean Johnson didn't even have a chance. All he could do was watch it hit the side netting. Just a fantastic player. And he gets all over the pitch. He never stops moving. He's got an engine. And his first touch is always clean. His shiftiness, he can always beat players on the dribble. And when you talk about combination play, he's always looking for the 1-2s. And that's the easiest play to get around players, is always looking for those 1-2s. And it's effective. And what he does for this Portland Timbers team is he sets the tone. And now everybody plays off of him. He's the main man now because Valeri has gone up there in age and can't produce at the same level that he once could. But Sebastian Blanco, he can do it for them.
I want to circle back to that goal from Andy Polo because number one, it was just it's worth revisiting because it is that spectacular. But also we saw quite an electric celebration after this. It was Charlie Davies, and I just want to get your thoughts on this goal celebration because is it as good as Sergio Santos?
No, it's not, but it's going to get the headlines because it's just different. I love different celebrations. Obviously, he's done that before in the locker room, so I'm feeling it. It's different, but
for his little girl, I think he said in the presser that it was for his daughter wanted a celebration. So
okay,
so there you go. So it's even more special. I love it. Yeah, right here.
But you can see, I mean, anytime you have Diego Valeri grabbing, putting his hands on his head, and then I think he kind of got down to like worship him in the moment. Diego Valeri is not necessarily the easiest guy to impress. He scored a number of goals that look pretty similar to this. But I mean, look, I think Polo's a guy that really, is well liked within the team and hasn't scored a ton of goals. So when you see a guy step into a match like that and immediately score a goal in that fashion, you got to give him some love. You got to give it up. And, hey, it was an important one, too, because that one put the match away.
Yeah, it really was. One of the guys, Charlie, that you had said had stood out to you particularly in this game was Eric Williams, who was just a beast for Portland, winning balls. What did you like from his game tonight?
I love how he can get into those tight spaces and play out of trouble. He's always there. He's dynamic. So you have Diego Chara who can step, who follows everyone all over the field because you allow Diego Chara to do that because he's a pit bull. He's always going to win most of his challenges. But in the instances he doesn't, Eric Williams fills in the spot. He's great for the balance of this midfield. He always provides stability. And he has the knack of getting forward. Because he did play a number 10 role in college. He played as an attacker. So he has that ability. He can dribble by players, and he always released players into space. Eric Williamson was definitely an unsung hero tonight because of all the work he was able to provide the Timbers in midfield.
Just a pretty solid and complete effort from the Portland Timbers. Up next for them, they will play the Philadelphia Union for a chance to play in the final match. Kalen Carr, you have picked Philadelphia Union as your winner of the entire tournament. These are two teams that don't really get to play each other all that much. How do you think they match up against each other?
Well, I think there's actually a fair amount of similarities between them, particularly when you look at how quickly each team can go from one end to the other. We saw from Portland tonight how they're able to really use the counterattack to go quickly. And if you look back throughout the tournament with Philly, I mean, they have Sergio Santos who can just go one-man show end to end, but also when you get Brendan Aronson moving at pace and you get the whole team kind of, Montero and these guys really just pushing along. So it'll be interesting to see because I think Portland had 39% of the ball. I think Philadelphia will enjoy keeping possession a bit more than that. So will it be a little bit more of similar tonight where Philadelphia would play the role of dominating possession and looking for their chances? Or do they take a little bit more of a, I don't know, is it more of a cagey affair where both teams are kind of feeling each other out, waiting for a mistake, a set piece, and then looking to transition to the other end?
I feel like it's going to be 50. I feel like it's going to be a 50-50 as far as possession. I think both teams will. It's the ebbs and flows of a game. I think there'll be times where Philadelphia dominates possession, and I think there'll be times where Portland dominates possession. But this is going to be a close game. We're not going to see a 4-1 game in this match because both teams are defensively sound. Andre Blake is arguably playing the best of his career right now. Big time saves. You have Mark McKenzie. It's going to be the midfield versus the midfield. The midfield trio of Portland when you have Diego Chara, Williamson, and Blanco. Those three are very important for Portland, and they set the tone whether they want to press high, sit back, look to counter, or keep possession. And then you talk about Philadelphia with Aronson, Bedoya, and Montero. Those three are active. They are active. They're going to look to pull Chara out into space, pull them to the sideline, create some more space underneath for Shabilko, for Sergio Santos. They better hope Sergio Santos is fully healthy and ready to go. But this is going to be, I think, the game of the semifinals.
Yeah, it should be a great one. That will happen Wednesday night, everybody. So get ready for that. Time now for our Audi goals drive progress. And during the MLS Is Back tournament, with every goal scored, Audi will contribute $1,000. There were 9 goals tonight. And so far, there have been 136 tournament goals, which totals $136,000. So during the MLS Is Back tournament championship match, every goal scored is worth $5,000. And in addition, Audi will contribute $10,000 to the MLS Is Back tournament Golden Boot Winners Academy Club. So on that note, let's check out the standings for the Golden Boot presented by Audi standings. And we have a couple guys moving on up in the list. We have Jeremy Abobasi is up there at 3. And, I mean, a lot of these guys, it's not going to... I mean, Sergio Santos and Jeremy Abobasi are still in this tournament. So everybody else, that's... I don't know if anyone can catch Diego Rossi, but...
No. Jeremy... Yeah, Jeremy, Jeremy could have got within striking distance tonight if he took his chances. But I think Rossi has just built in too much of a cushion here. He won't be happy to be home, but yeah, I think he's got the golden boot for sure.
Send him the boot. Just send him the boot now.
Something to take home. Exactly. Here's your parting gift, Diego Rossi. All right, let's take it to the highlights from our first match of the evening, and that was San Jose against Minnesota. Adrian Heath all fired up before this one. We bring it to the 20th minute, and Robin Lod burying this one.
Dotson whips it in.
We talked how dangerous.
Yeah. Boom.
And we've seen Minnesota stay alive in the box, especially on the second ball. They have been alert and yet generally gotten on top of things. And you have to give them credit, right? Because they were the more positive team coming into this match and really took their chances well. And it was really one and then the second right before you knew it. And this was the one that I think put San Jose in a big hole. Ja'Cory Hayes, again, like I mentioned, staying alert. That is something this Minnesota team has done. It's not necessarily the prettiest goal, but you have to give him credit for being alert in the box.
That's his first goal since 2018, his first goal with Minnesota. In the 49th minute, there was a handball called on Ja'Cory Hayes. And Magnus Eriksson.
Suze, I think we all thought this is where San Jose comes back. They've scored 10 goals in the second half of the 12 goals that they've scored in this tournament.
I thought a comeback was brewing, but then this happened.
Yeah,
in the 57th minute,
I don't understand. I don't understand how Alanis can continue to backtrack like that, to just continue to retreat to your own box.
Mm-hmm.
That you have to at some point put a challenge in.
Yeah, 100%. So these are the game stats for this one. San Jose, absolutely dominating possession, but Minnesota were in control. They came in with a very specific game plan. It worked, and they are moving on to the semifinals. Yes. And let's hear what Adrian Heath had to say after this one. This should be interesting.
But, as I said before, and I'm probably got more faith in this group than anybody else. Certainly more than you, the press, and the people everywhere else who continually seem to think that we struggle to get through. It'll be interesting to read the narrative tomorrow.
Can we call you favorites now?
I wouldn't think so. Listening to the paper, reading the papers and listening to everybody. Well, hey, that doesn't care. I don't care about that. You know that. I'll mention it to the players, for sure. Maybe I like them more than most because I work with them every single day. But I'm not the expert. You guys are the experts. I've only been doing it 44 years.
Adrian Heath still sticking to his shtick here. I'm gonna call it his shtick. But guys, they are going to the semifinals. They dominated this game. This was a very, very convincing win. And yet Adrian Heath is still insisting that his team gets no respect. Nobody's picking them. I don't necessarily think that's true, Kalen. What does he have any reason other than to try to motivate his guys to kind of keep up this narrative?
Well, look, I give him credit for sticking to sticking to the script. And I thought that this was kind of a bit for a while, but this is actually, he's taking this to the locker room, and we spoke to Chase Gasper about this on Extra Time this week, and he said he's playing clips.
Did he freeze for you, Charlie?
Kalen froze?
Yeah. Did Kalen freeze?
Yeah.
Did you?
He's
I'm
there
here.
now,
Sorry.
though.
No, I was just saying, yeah, Adrian Heath's like, shut him off. He can't talk anymore. No, he talked about them playing the clips of people saying that, picking other teams in the locker room or the Vegas odds. And I was really surprised to hear that because, I've been on plenty of teams that have gone, sort of been the underdogs in certain circumstances, whether you're playing in a cup final against Beckham and Keane and Landon Donovan. And it wasn't something that we ever really had to discuss and never had to be put up on the, on the Jumbotron for us to understand we were underdogs. We knew we were the underdogs, right? But we set our own expectations. And I would say, I don't know how much this is really motivating the players or not, but I think you have to give them credit. They came out, and I think you have to give Adrian Heath credit as well. He made the right changes. He moved Dotson to the right-hand side, who I thought was fantastic tonight. Ja'Cory Hayes gets into the lineup. He was also a really important player, of course, gets the goal on the score sheet, but I thought played well throughout, a guy I'd like from Dallas. And so they've used their depth well, but come on. Listen, you're without your three top players for me. You're without Ike Opara, the MLS Defending Player of the Year. You're without Molino, who's your most creative player. And you are without, who's the last guy? It's late here. My brain is,
Metnier?
Your only all-star,
Yeah.
excuse me. Yeah. So, yes, it's when you're undermanned, short-staffed, no one's disrespecting your players. We're just looking at across the board and saying, San Jose looks pretty good right now. They've scored 5 goals. Columbus hasn't given up a goal. But give credit to Minnesota because they've gone out and done the business, and they've gotten through.
For me, once again, you proved me wrong. But at the same time, you owe me because I give you that motivation to keep going. But with all due respect, this Minnesota team is so much more talented than the way they play. That's why I get frustrated when I watch this Minnesota team when they sit back and they just defend, because they have talented players where they can be on the front foot. They can keep possession. Tonight, Hassani Dotson, he wasn't just fantastic. He was outstanding. He was involved in all 3 goals and made up more than enough for the loss of Roman Metnier. Here he is, standing up on his feet, bodies Nick Lima, keeps possession, was fantastic, finds the outlet. Doesn't dive in here, Vako, blocks the cross. Then, still, proper defending. Holds him up, delays him, allows Grey Goose to come over and make the tackle. Here, denies the entry ball, cuts out in front. Then, a massive play, follows the runner, takes it off of Vako's feet. Again, great first touch, patience, and then zips a ball in to the feet of Ethan Finley. Gets it back, no panic, plays in tight spaces, finds the next player. Then, to cap off the night, goes on this darting run, and then just zips it in to Hairston for the goal. He was involved in all 3 goals tonight. Was just fantastic. This is a player who has a ton of potential. His ceiling is sky high. I am so thrilled with his progress, and he needs to be penciled in every single week for this Minnesota team. And to what Kalen's point, I was really impressed with Ja'Cory Hayes tonight. I saw what he did with FC Dallas. I was very happy when I saw him on the field because I thought this kid can play. Just didn't get the right opportunity. To Minnesota, he's had to fight and wait. Tonight he got an opportunity and he showed, hey, I got what it takes to challenge for a starting spot on this field. This Minnesota team is very talented, and Jan Grey Goose, as well had a fantastic game.
Yeah,
so
he
they
had a
have
good
the
match.
quality. Just be a little bit more proactive. That's all I ask.
All right. Well, up next for Minnesota is Orlando, the sort of tournament darling. This also happens to be Adrian Heath's former team, which just I can only imagine is adding a little bit more fuel to the fire. Not that Adrian Heath needed another chip on his shoulder or a reason to sort of be motivated for this, but. What do you think that dynamic? What do you think his mentality taking his team heading into to face his old team is going to do in terms of motivation, Kalen?
I mean, I'm sure he'll be motivated, of course. I think we spoke about it in the pregame and in the past when we talked about João Moutinho going against his former side, and Charlie and I shared our experiences as well. And that extends to managers, no doubt. And one thing we know about Adrian Heath is he has a lot of pride, and I think he feels like he isn't respected as far as, and the time in Orlando didn't go well, or as well as he would have liked. Things move on, things change. Now they're in a whole new phase and have done a great job with Pereira. So I think both of these teams, in a way, have been the underdogs in different ways. Orlando maybe kind of like a team that a lot of people have gotten around, and Minnesota. Mm-hmm. I don't think people are rooting against Minnesota by any means.
No.
And so, it will be tough to maybe position themselves as big underdogs here, even though Orlando did beat LAFC. But look, I think this is going to come down to the actual football and not the conversation around it. And I think both of these teams are pretty similar in the ways that they can get behind the ball, get into blocks and defend. I think Orlando has a little bit more going forward as far as the pace on the wings and a little bit more dynamic in their interplay and Pereira and such. So, but Minnesota United have deserved to get where they are. And hey, what's to say that we won't keep talking about this through the final? Because I think Minnesota surely can beat Orlando City. And heck, should we just say they're favorites? Maybe that will just sort of put this to bed.
Okay. I'm here for it. Charlie, what about you?
Yep. I think this is going to be a fantastic game, a tactical game from both coaches. We saw Adrian Heath tonight spread out his side. He made San Jose, knowing that they play 1v1 all across the field, spread them out and make them less effective. They weren't able to close people down with multiple players. He understood. He said, okay, they want to play like that. We're going to stretch them out and make them less effective so they can't counter against us. They can't gain possession. And Jackson Newell looked lost for most of the game because he couldn't get on the ball. He wasn't as effective as he normally is. And when he's not effective, San Jose's not effective. And we saw that tonight because he wasn't able to find Vaco in space. Hassani Dotson was all over him. Minnesota also pressed in this match, which they usually will drop off. They were at times counter-pressing and pressing high, causing turnovers, and it ruffled San Jose's feathers. They didn't know how to really react. I think in Orlando, we're going to see a little bit of both. It's going to be mind games. Sometimes Orlando's going to press high, and then sometimes they're going to drop off and invite Minnesota into their own half, create some space in behind, and then try and play those balls for Tesho Akindele, Nani, Chris Mueller. But Tesho Akindele hasn't been sharp in the final third as of late. That might hurt Orlando in this match. I think it's a chess match, but also at the same time, Luis Amarilla for Minnesota is growing with confidence. He is effective. He's a game changer for Minnesota when he's fit and healthy because he makes great runs, hold up play, and he's a lethal striker. When he gets in front of goal, that's a player you want with the ball because he will finish. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, you can look forward to it on Thursday, August 6th, guys. That is when Orlando and Minnesota will face off against each other. Now we're going to take it back to just a few days ago. I think this was actually Tuesday night. It feels like it was like ages ago, but we did some power rankings for our teams heading into the quarterfinals, and this was what we came up with. And I just want to, both of you had Minnesota last, ranked 8th in the power rankings. So when Adrian Heath goes on about getting no respect, I think he's looking directly at Charlie Davies and Kalen Carr, whereas I had Orlando and Minnesota in my top 4. So, I mean, I have to give a little credit where credit is due. Mind you, you both had Portland and Philadelphia fairly high. So I can give you some props there. But this is, I think this is quite interesting to look at, fellas.
Yeah. Well, from my perspective, I ranked LAFC and San Jose high, and if you're going to pick those two teams, you got to pick against who they're playing against, right? And that was Orlando and Minnesota United. But hey, we've learned from MLS Is Back that the obvious is not as obvious, and I think Charlie made a really good point. I think Charlie made a really good point about the adjustments that Adrian Heath did and the tactical nuance that he showed to really switch things up and take a little bit more of an aggressive stance and disrupt what San Jose wanted to do. And I think Orlando also is a team that we've seen, yes, they have the spirit, they have that, but they also have the manager in Pereira who's been able to pull the right strings to not only to find their way past LAFC, which is no easy task. So both of these teams deserve to be there. I will happy to admit my power rankings in MLS Back tournaments were off.
Everyone's are. I mean, come on.
That's why you put this up here, Susanna.
Who can guess? It's like I said.
Well,
we
you
literally know
yours
nothing.
Is looking good. Yours is looking good, again, Susanna.
It's not bad. It's really not. I'm not terribly unhappy with this, but
I'm happy with my picks.
I said it when I put it together. It was I literally threw logic out the window. So it's just kind of like just goes to show you once
Maybe that's
again.
the trick. Yeah.
Goes back to the point. We don't know anything, guys. We really don't know a darn thing. Let's take a look at the semifinals. Semifinal schedule is coming up. We're gonna have a few days off, fellas. Kind of, maybe.
No
things
way.
kick back up again on Wednesday and Thursday. First matchup is the Philadelphia Union taking on the Portland Timbers, and then on Thursday we will have Orlando, Minnesota. Both of those games kicking off at 8 p.m. Eastern. The game on Wednesday on FS1. The game on Thursday on ESPN. And just one last time, let's get a little goodness into our lives as we close out the show. Andy Polo.
Get it.
Doing the little jig.
I love it.
I feel like this is just going to be. This is like a TikTok video waiting to happen. I can't wait. Charlie Davies, get your boys on this. How about that?
I'll have them do it tomorrow for sure.
Yes, I love it. Guys, make sure you join us on Wednesday for MLS Today, presented by AT&T. We will be here on MLSsoccer.com, Facebook, and Twitter, previewing all the game action. And then, of course, join us after the match for MLS Is Back postgame show presented by Audi, where we will wrap things up and look ahead to the following games. Thank you so very much, everybody, for tuning in and hanging out late night with us. We hope you enjoyed the games and the show. Get some sleep. We'll see you on Wednesday.